This is the Changing Currents PSA by Gage Fitzgerald, Alex Dixon, Isaac Tran, and Marcel Lorenco. Thank you.
Our currents work by changing temperature and by density differences. In the Atlantic Ocean, the circulation of warm and salty surface water near the equator flows towards Greenland. During its journey, it crosses the Caribbean Sea, loops up into the Gulf of Mexico, and then flows along the U.S. East Coast before crossing the Atlantic. This current, also known as the Gulf Stream, brings heat and warm water to Europe. As it flows northward, it then cools. The water mass becomes heavier. By the time it reaches Greenland, it starts to sink and flow southward. The sinking of water near Greenland pulls water from elsewhere in the Atlantic Ocean, and the cycle repeats. So the water moves around. So what? Well, these currents control a lot of things. The first is actually controlling the temperature of our beach water. The second is moving trash, and the third, the fish depend on these currents. The first explains itself. We know that the currents move cold and hot water to areas to keep the temperature constant, or at least in a loop so fish can have a nice habitat that's comfortable for them. Speaking of fish, they depend on the currents for a number of reasons. They need the currents for nutrient distribution or food availability, larval disposal, and migration patterns. So not only can these currents carry trash, but they would also be killing a lot of fish that wouldn't get to eat. Now the trash that the currents carry is a very big story. Not only would rising sea get rid of these currents, but the trash that floats with them has created an island of sorts. But where's the trash going to go now that the currents are gone, you may ask? Well, of course, our beaches and marine animal habitats. The trash would be affecting all beaches around the world, making them unsanitary and a very big problem for pollution.
Ever since global warming has begun to affect the Earth using things like CO2 emissions and land waste, the world has been getting increasingly hotter as we know it. Since the Industrial Revolution, CO2 levels in the atmosphere have doubled, causing temperatures to rise. Why is this bad, you may ask? In Arctic conditions, specifically the polar ends of the Earth, icebergs and glaciers alike are melting, causing water levels to rise and disrupting natural habitats. When these water levels rise, it disrupts the natural flow of ocean currents. Rising temperatures are also the cause for warmer water in the Arctic, another reason the ice caps are melting. The temperature of the ocean increases by 0.14 degrees Fahrenheit every decade. This might not sound like much, but it's enough to melt polar ice caps and shift the ocean's tides. Because of these changes, the ocean level has raised 8 inches since 1920. Additionally, oceans have absorbed over 90% of greenhouse gases over the last couple of years, and that number continues to grow.
The main reason why the AMOC is slowing is due to global warming. So the solution is to reduce our carbon emissions and to stop global warming from increasing, or else the currents will rupture. This will cause several changes in climate in different parts of the world. Oceanology professor Spencer Jones has been working on theories for solutions on the problem, and his main goal is to switch our everyday norms to environmentally friendly methods, such as reducing the use of fossil fuels and use of transportation that damages our atmosphere. Other methods that Jones provides to stop currents from changing is to take action individually and to switch our energy methods to renewable. The change of heat in the atmosphere severely affects the heat circulation of currents around the world, so there are many different side projects around the world taking action to reduce carbon emissions. One project that is located in the U.S. is the DeSoto project, led by Stacey Abrams. The goal of the DeSoto project is to rewire communities to electrification, which is a cleaner energy source, cheaper source, and more efficient source of energy to power people's homes. The main goal of these small projects around the world is to decarbonize energy. Another method that has been in production to stop global warming is to filter the air and take out carbon dioxide. These filtering plants are located in the Arctic parts of the world and are currently being tested to be a reliable source, as this method is new and still needs work. Many of these new ideas are very expensive, which is the major downside to new upcoming projects. Even though these projects are a small effort to the main goal, any contribution helps towards the goal of stopping global warming. In conclusion, the biggest impacts to global warming are switching to electrification and low carbon energy sources. Everyone is involved in the battle against climate change because individual roles of people make a big difference in spreading urgency of the matter. This graph shows the sea surface change over time, and the red line shows that it has been rapidly increasing per year compared to the past century. The sea surface change affects the water density and its salinity, which disrupts the current circulation. The currents with these effects can struggle to pass heat and coolness around the world to areas that need it. With the higher density, it makes it harder to keep it at a temperature that was natural before, so it is not good if the surface changes, or the current circulation would be heavily disrupted.